All right, let's dive into Dostoyevsky. We're looking at White Nights and Other Stories today.
Oh, Dostoyevsky. He's amazing at taking like just normal stuff,
Yeah.
like loneliness,
I
and
thought
turning
so.
it into these crazy in-depth stories.
Yeah, and White Nights, like the one we're looking at today,
Uh.
throws you right in.
Yeah.
Like the narrator is just totally alone.
Right.
Everyone else is like left St. Petersburg
Oh, wow.
for their summer places.
Right, right.
And he even says the city feels like a graveyard.
Wow.
It's intense.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Like how he finds comfort,
Yeah.
even that he's isolated in the fact that the city is so anonymous.
Yeah.
He gets like obsessed with faces he sees on walks.
Right.
It feels connected even though they never talk.
Yeah, it's like he's making up relationships in his head.
Right.
And almost prefers that to like talking to people.
Yeah.
He even mentions this almost friendship
Oh, wow.
with this old guy he sees on Fontanka,
Huh.
like every day,
Yeah.
but they never ever speak. But there's this like unspoken thing,
Wow.
little dance they do in the crowd.
That's so Dostoyevsky.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think it shows how much we need to connect with each other.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a quick glance or a moment we share
Yeah.
in a big crowd,
Right.
It's almost like he can, because it's so anonymous,
Uh-huh.
he can imagine these people as anything he wants.
Yeah.
And make these perfect connections in his mind, which, let's be honest, we probably all do sometimes.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like we're all looking for those little moments
Right.
where we feel seen
Exactly.
and like we connect,
Yeah.
even if it's in like the most random place.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Nastenka shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that Dostoevsky has them meet under the White Nights.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's like this magical background that
Yeah.
makes their meeting even more special.
It adds so much.
Yeah.
It's like he's using the White Nights
Yeah.
to make everything feel more possible. Right. And more full of longing.
Totally.
And they both talk about being lonely, and there's this feeling
Yeah.
that maybe they can be there for each other.
Yeah. And then there's Nastenka's situation.
Right.
She's literally stuck
Yeah.
with her blind grandmother
Oh, wow.
and wants freedom and someone to be with.
It's like
Yeah.
her whole life is just waiting.
Yeah.
And then the narrator comes along.
Right. And their conversations are like innocent.
I know.
Almost like they're kids
Yeah.
figuring out how to connect for the first time.
Yeah. And she just knows right away
Yeah.
that he's shy.
Yeah.
She guesses he's never talked to a woman before.
It's so cute,
I know.
but it also feels kind of sad.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe this connection won't last.
Yeah.
And part of that is because of the narrator himself.
Oh, really?
He's such a dreamer.
Yeah.
Always in his own little world.
I see.
Makes you wonder if he really wants to connect.
Yeah.
Or if he'd rather just stay in his head.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Dostoevsky.
What?
He doesn't give you easy answers.
Yeah.
The narrator even calls himself a type.
A type.
Yeah, like a certain kind of person
Yeah.
who likes being in his own head better than real life.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And this is where Dostoevsky's ideas about how we think come in.
Oh, tell me more.
He was fascinated by how our perceptions shape reality.
I see.
And for the narrator,
Yeah.
that reality is mostly fantasy.
Right.
So his connection with Nastenka is even more interesting
How so?
because she's like this real person.
Yeah.
He's come into his perfect little world.
Wow.
It's like she's making him face.
Is hoping the lodger won't come back
Oh, wow.
so he can have a chance with her?
I feel for him, even though it's kind of selfish.
I know what you mean.
He even says he feels incapable of beginning a life in real life.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like he's stuck,
Yeah.
wanting things but getting in his own way.
Yeah. And Dostoevsky's not like judging him for that.
No.
He's just showing him as a person
Yeah.
with all his flaws and stuff.
Right.
And I think that's why it's so relatable.
Yeah.
Even now,
Yeah.
like we've all felt that pull
Yeah,
between our dreams
Yeah.
and what we
Mhm.
have to do in real life
totally.
and that fear of like trying something
Yeah.
and maybe getting hurt.
Yeah, it's like he's showing us
It is.
the parts of ourselves we
Yeah.
don't want to look at,
For sure.
those insecurities and fears.
This is just the start though.
Right.
As we go deeper into White Nights and the other stories,
Yeah.
we'll see how Dostoevsky keeps exploring these big themes,
Oh, excited.
like what it means to be human,
Yeah.
the good and bad,
Right.
the hope and the despair.
I'm hooked already. So where do we go from here?
Well,
This lodger thing is going to blow up, right?
oh yeah.
I have to know what happens.
Well, you see, Nastenka's really hoping that this lodger comes back, right?
Yeah.
Dostoevsky doesn't hold back here.
Uh-oh.
It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
Oh, no.
You know something awful's going to happen,
Right.
but you can't look away.
That's so true. And it gets worse as they wait for him.
Right.
Especially when Nastenka starts to have doubts.
Oh, really?
And shares them with the narrator.
Wow.
It's like she feels something's wrong.
Right.
But she's holding on to this hope so hard.
And then what happens?
Oh, the climax is so sad.
Oh, no.
The lodger comes back.
He does.
But he ignores her completely.
Oh, no.
She even sees him with another woman.
Oh, that's awful.
It's like a punch in the gut for both of them.
It is.
For Nastenka and the narrator.
Yeah.
Because he's been living through her hopes, too.
Oh, for sure.
That scene
Yeah.
where she gets his letter.
Oh, the letter.
It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's just this cold note
Wow.
saying it's over.
Wow.
Dostoyevsky really shows you
Yeah.
the pain of dreams dying.
Yeah.
How one letter can destroy
Right.
a whole year of wanting and waiting.
It really makes you think
It does.
about how sometimes the things we want the most are the things that hurt us the most.
It's true.
And it's when Nastenka is devastated that we see who the narrator really is.
What do you mean?
He tries to comfort her,
Yeah.
but there's this desperation in how he asks.
Right.
Almost like he's using her pain
Right.
to get what he wants.
Yeah, and he even admits it.
Does he really?
He starts to say, I am to blame. I have abused your aid.
Oh, wow.
And then he stops himself.
Wow.
Like he almost said too much.
That's so powerful.
It is.
It's such a human moment. Full of all these mixed up feelings. He wants to help,
Yeah.
but he also wants her for himself.
Exactly. And Dostoevsky isn't saying he's good or bad.
Right.
He's just showing us a real person.
Yeah.
Making real choices.
Right.
Based on his own fears and insecurities.
And that's what connects White Knights to some of the other stories.
Okay.
Where we see the same thing.
Things.
People wanting things, getting disappointed.
Yeah.
Trying to make their dreams fit with real life.
You mentioned Mr. Proharchin earlier.
I did.
How does his story fit in?
Well,
It seems so different on the surface.
it does.
Right.
But think about it.
Okay.
Mr. Proharchin is a loner.
Yeah.
Living in this tiny room.
Okay.
Totally cut off from everyone.
Right.
He's chosen to be alone in
Yeah.
a world where he controls everything.
All right. Yeah.
And avoids the pain of being close to people.
So it's like he's living his own version of the narrator's dream world.
Yeah, except his is based on fear and paranoia.
Right. Not romance.
Exactly. And just like the narrator,
Yeah.
Mr. Proharchin's perfect little world
What?
starts to fall apart
Oh.
when real life intrudes.
What happened?
He gets convinced his neighbors are against him.
Oh, no.
Stealing from him, gossiping about him.
Right.
He gets so anxious
Wow.
that it destroys him in the end.
It's sad.
It is.
But I get it.
Me too.
We all have times when we hide in our own heads,
Right.
build walls to protect ourselves.
Yeah, and Dostoevsky's not saying that's wrong.
Okay.
He's just showing how it can trap us
Right.
if we let it take over.
Which brings us back to connection.
Yeah.
Both the narrator and Mr. Proharchin
Yeah.
want to belong somewhere,
Right.
but they go about it in totally different ways.
I know. It's fascinating.
One with fantasy, the other by shutting everyone out.
Exactly.
But both stories show how dangerous it can be
Yeah.
to let those desires
Right.
mess with our sense of reality
Totally.
and lead us to hurt ourselves.
It's like Dostoevsky saying, look,
Yeah.
we all need to connect.
Yeah.
But it's a delicate thing.
Yeah.
We have to be careful
Yeah.
not to let fear and insecurity
Right.
stop us from really being close to someone.
Absolutely. And as we look at more of his stories,
Yeah.
we'll see how this idea
Mm.
of wanting connection but being afraid of it
Yeah.
shows up in different ways
It's incredible.
and teaches us so much
It really is.
about what it means to be human.
Exactly.
I'm ready for more. Which story should we look at next?
Well, I think to really understand Dostoevsky's take on this,
Yeah.
we got to look at Notes from Underground.
Okay.
This narrator, oh man, what about him? He's like completely cut off from the world
Oh, wow.
and almost enjoys being miserable.
Wow.
He's so cynical,
Wow.
hates himself, second guesses everything. It's like he's built a wall around himself,
Right.
convinced that real connection is impossible.
I remember how much he analyzes everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like even his own thoughts.
I know.
It's like he can't escape his own head.
Yeah.
He's trapped in this cycle of thinking and doubting.
Right. And what's so interesting is that
Yeah.
he knows he lies to himself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Twists reality to fit his negative view. He even says that maybe people would rather
Yeah.
live in a fantasy
Uh-huh.
than deal with the messiness of real life.
That's pretty bleak.
It is.
But I kind of see what he means.
Me too.
We've all had times
Yeah.
when it feels easier to just be in our own heads,
Right.
make up stories
Yeah.
that protect us from getting hurt.
Exactly. And this is where things get really good.
Okay.
He meets Liza,
Oh, Liza.
this woman who's like a chance for him to connect.
Oh, okay.
She's kind and open.
Yeah.
And she actually listens to him.
Yeah.
Gives him a taste of the closeness he wants.
I love that scene
Which one?
where he talks about his perfect family.
Right.
And then compares it to Liza's hard life.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's trying to make himself believe and that true love exists,
Right.
even though he doubts it deep down.
So what happens?
He pushes her away.
Oh, no.
He can't handle how
Yeah.
complicated her life is.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It is.
You can see he wants connection,
Yeah.
but he ruins it every time.
He does, doesn't he?
It's like he's too scared of getting hurt,
I see.
of having his illusions broken
Yeah.
to let himself be vulnerable.
And that's why Notes from Underground
Yeah.
is so good at showing loneliness. It's not just
Yeah.
about being alone physically.
You're right.
It's about feeling alone,
Yeah.
even when you're with someone.
Like emotionally.
Yeah, like you can't really connect.
Right. And then there's A Gentle Creature,
Oh, yeah.
which is all about a relationship
Yeah.
that's already ended tragically.
It is, isn't
You
it?
see this pawnbroker
Right.
trying to understand why his wife killed herself.
Oh, wow.
And he keeps thinking about
Yeah.
all the silences they had.
Oh, wow.
He's trying to figure out where it went wrong,
Right.
but he can't see clearly.
Eh.
He's blinded by his own guilt
Right.
and regret.
That silence
Yeah.
is like a symbol
Yeah.
for how far apart they were.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
It's a story for anyone
Yeah.
who's struggled to talk to someone they love.
Right.
Those times when words just aren't enough.
It's powerful.
Dostoevsky seems to be saying
What?
that being close to someone
Yeah.
takes more than just being physically near them.
Yeah, you need more than that.
You need to be open and understanding
Uh-huh.
and really try to see the other person.
And this idea of missing connections,
Yeah.
of wanting more.
Yeah. It keeps going in Christmas Tree and a wedding.
Oh, right.
This little boy, Vasya,
Yeah.
is in love with this girl at a party,
Oh, wow.
but he doesn't see that she's being forced to marry for money.
Oh, no.
It's innocence
Yeah.
versus the hard truth
Right.
of a society obsessed with money and status.
It's heartbreaking
It is.
to see this young girl
Yeah.
pushed into a marriage without love.
And then we have a friend of the family,
Oh, yes.
which is so hopeful.
It is.
It shows the power of true friendship.
I love that story.
Vasya's back,
Oh, he is.
but now he's about to get married.
Okay.
And his friend, Arkady,
Yeah.
helps him with all his anxieties.
That's so nice.
It's like a heartwarming story
It is.
of real care and support,
It's refreshing.
isn't it?
Yeah,
After all the darkness we've seen,
for sure.
it reminds us that even in Dostoevsky's world,
Yeah,
people can be good to each other.
they can.
It goes back to that need to belong.
Right.
Sometimes those connections come
Yeah.
from unexpected places
They do.
and help us get through tough times.
Oh, absolutely.
And then there's Polzunkov.
Polzunkov. Oh, yeah.
That one's so funny
It is.
and shows how a simple thing,
What?
like spilling soup, can start a real friendship.
Between people from totally different worlds.
Yeah.
It's great.
Dostoevsky flips the script.
How so?
You'd expect the important official to
Mhm.
be annoyed,
Right.
but he's not.
He's not.
He's kind and understanding
Oh, wow.
and connects with Polzunkov
Wow.
in a real way.
That's awesome.
Shows that real connections can happen
Wow.
anywhere
Right.
and that we're all human,
Totally.
no matter our social status.
So even though Dostoevsky
Yeah,
shows us the dark side of people,
Mhm.
there's also hope,
there is.
a belief that real connection is possible,
Yeah,
even in the most unexpected places.
I love that.
Me too.
I'm so glad we did this deep dive.
Me too.
It's been challenging,
Yeah.
but also really rewarding.
Absolutely. And the best thing about Dostoevsky
Yeah,
is that his work stays with you.
it does.
It makes you think
Yeah,
and question things
right.
and keep looking for those real connections.
In books and in life.
Yeah.
So to our listener,
Yeah.
as you go through life,
Yeah.
remember Dostoevsky's words
I will.
and be open to those unexpected moments
Yes.
of connection and beauty,
Absolutely.
even when things are tough.
Yeah. Even in the darkness.
Exactly.
There's always hope. So Nastenka, she's like totally focused on this lodger coming back, right?
Yeah.
Dostoyevsky doesn't mess around here.
Oh, no?
It's brutal to watch,
No.
like a slow-motion train wreck.
Yes.
You can't look away.
It's like that.
Yeah, and the tension just keeps building while
Yeah.
they're waiting for him.
Especially when Nastenka starts having those doubts
Right.
and telling the narrator about them.
It's like she knows something's off,
Yeah.
but she's clinging to that hope.
Yeah. And then the lodger comes back.
He does.
But he doesn't go to her.
Oh, no.
He just completely ignores her.
Oh, that's awful.
She even sees him with another woman.
Oh, man.
It's devastating
It is.
for her and the narrator because he's been hoping with her.
Totally.
That scene where she reads the lodger's letter,
Oh, I know.
it's just heartbreaking.
It's so cold.
It is.
And dismissive.
Basically saying it's over.
Oh, wow.
It's like Dostoevsky showing us
Yeah.
how easily dreams can be crushed.
He is, isn't he?
Like all her hopes and waiting for a year.
Wow.
Gone just like that.
It's like a reminder
Yeah.
that sometimes the things we want most cause
Yeah.
the most pain.
It's true. And then when she's like that,
Yeah.
totally heartbroken,
Yeah.
you really see the narrator's true colors.
Oh, what do you mean?
He tries to comfort her,
Yeah, he does.
but there's this desperation to it,
Right.
almost like he's taking advantage
Yeah.
of her being vulnerable.
Yeah.
He even says, I am to blame. I have abused her.
Does he really?
And then he stops.
Whoa.
Like he almost revealed too much.
That's intense.
It's like a tangled mess of feelings.
It is.
He wants to help her,
Yeah.
but he also wants her.
Right.
And Dostoevsky's not telling us
Yeah.
if he's a good guy or bad guy.
He's just showing us a person.
Yeah. With all their flaws.
Yeah, making real choices.
Driven by their own stuff.
Like their fears and insecurities.
And that's what connects White Knights to some of those other stories.
Like which ones?
Where we see people wanting things.
Yeah.
Getting disappointed.
Right.
Struggling to make their dreams fit with reality.
Yeah, you mentioned Mr. Proharchin earlier.
I did. How does that fit in?
Okay.
It seems so different at first.
It does, right. But think about it.
Well-
Mr. Proharchin, he's like a total recluse.
Right.
Lives in this tiny room.
Yeah.
Totally cut off from the world.
Yeah. He's chosen that.
Right. It's like he's created this little world where he's in control
Yeah.
and doesn't have to risk getting close to anyone.
So it's kind of like
Yeah.
his own version of the narrator's fantasy.
Exactly. But his is based on fear
Right.
and paranoia, not romantic love.
Yeah. And then just like the narrator,
Yeah.
Mr. Proharchin's perfect little world gets disrupted
It does.
by real life.
Oh.
He starts thinking his neighbors are plotting against him,
Oh,
stealing his stuff, talking about him behind his back.
that's awful.
And he gets so anxious
Oh, wow.
that it ultimately destroys him.
So sad. But I can relate.
Me too, you know?
We all have times
Mhm.
when we want to retreat
Yeah.
into our own little worlds.
Right. Build walls to protect yourself.
Yeah, and Dostoevsky's not saying that's bad.
No.
He's just showing
Right.
how it can trap us
It can't it?
if we let it take over.
And that brings us back to connection.
Right.
Both the narrator and Mr. Proharchin.
Yeah.
They want to belong somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but they go about it in totally different ways.
Totally. One with fantasy
Yeah.
and the other by shutting everyone out.
But both stories show how
Yeah.
dangerous it is
Yeah.
to let those desires
Mess with our sense of what's real.
and end up hurting ourselves.
It's like Dostoevsky saying,
Why?
look, we all need connection,
Yeah.
but it's delicate.
Right.
We got to be careful not to let our own fears
Mm-hmm.
get in the way of being close to someone.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. And as we go deeper into Dostoevsky's other stories,
Yep.
we'll see how this plays out in all these different ways.
I'm excited.
Me too.
What's next?
Okay, so which story really nails this whole connection versus isolation thing?
Well, I think Notes from Underground hits it hard.
Notes from Underground. Okay.
The narrator, he's like totally alienated, you know,
Oh, yeah.
almost like he enjoys being miserable.
Wow.
Super cynical, hates himself,
Uh-huh.
second-guessing everything,
Right.
built this wall around himself, thinks real connection is impossible.
It's like he's trapped in his own head, right?
Exactly, like overthinking everything.
Constantly analyzing.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is
Yeah.
he knows he's lying to himself. Oh, really?
Twisting reality to fit his messed up view.
He does.
Yeah, he even says people might prefer living in a fantasy
Oh, wow.
than dealing with real life.
That's bleak.
It is, but kind of true, right?
I know. It's like sometimes it feels easier to just hide in our heads.
Make up stories to protect ourselves.
Yeah, boy.
And then he meets Liza, and
yeah.
she's like, this chance for him
Just chance for what?
to connect, you know.
Yeah.
She's kind, she listens.
Yeah.
She actually hears him.
That's huge for him.
Right.
Totally.
And there's this scene
Which one?
where he talks about his perfect family,
Right.
this ideal he has,
Uh-huh.
compared to Liza's tough life.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to convince himself
Then
that
her.
real love is possible.
Even though he doesn't believe it.
Right. But then what happens?
What happens?
Pushes her away.
Right.
He can't handle
Yeah.
the reality of her life.
So sad.
It is, because you can see he wants it.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. That connection, but he sabotages it.
He does. It's like
Yeah.
he's too scared of getting hurt.
Of having his little fantasy broken.
Right.
So he can't be vulnerable.
And that's what makes Notes from Underground so good.
Oh, so?
It shows how loneliness isn't just being alone.
Right.
It's about feeling alone.
Even when you're with someone.
Exactly.
And then there's A Gentle Creature.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. A gentle creature.
That one goes deep into a relationship.
It does, but it's already over.
Yeah, tragically.
Yeah.
This pawnbroker,
Mm-hmm.
trying to understand why his wife took her own life.
Oh, wow.
And he's haunted by all the silences.
Really?
The things they didn't say to each other.
Ah.
He wants to know where it all went wrong.
Right, but he can't see it.
Why not?
He's blinded by guilt
Oh, right.
and regret.
So that silence,
Yeah.
it becomes this symbol
Of what?
of the distance between them.
Right, the emotional distance.
It's for anyone who's ever felt like
Right.
words weren't enough.
to say what they really felt.
Dostoevsky's saying real connection
Mm-hmm.
needs more than just being near someone.
Yeah.
You need more.
You got to be open,
Vulnerable.
understand.
Really see the other person.
And that idea of missing connections
Yeah, that longing for something more.
keeps going in Christmas Tree and a wedding.
Oh, right, with little Vasya.
Yeah, he's smitten with this girl at a party,
Okay.
but he's totally oblivious
To what?
that she's being forced into this marriage.
Oh, no, not for love.
No, for money.
Yeah.
This clash between innocence
Yeah.
and a world that values status and wealth over everything.
It's so sad to see her
Yeah.
pushed into something she doesn't want.
And then there's a friend of the family.
Oh, that one's so nice.
It is. It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
After all the darkness.
Right.
It shows the power of true friendship.
Voss is back, right.
He is, and he's getting married.
Wow, okay.
But he's got all these anxieties.
Worse.
And his friend, Arkady,
Yeah. Just totally calms him down.
that's what friends are for.
It's so heartwarming.
It is.
His portrayal of real support and care.
It reminds us that even in Dostoevsky's world,
Yeah.
there's goodness.
Right.
Human connection can be a source of strength.
It goes back to that need to belong
Totally.
and how those connections can come
Yeah.
from the most unexpected places
It can.
and help us through tough times.
Absolutely.
And then there's Polzwonkov.
Oh, yeah. Polzunka.
So funny, it shows how something small,
What? Like what?
spilling a bowl of soup,
Right.
can create a real friendship.
Between people from totally different worlds.
Yeah, Dostoevsky flips the script.
How so?
You'd expect the official
Yeah.
to be all annoyed and superior,
Right.
but he's not.
He's not.
He's actually kind and understanding
Wow.
and connects with Polzwonkov on a human level.
It's amazing.
It's like a reminder that
Yeah.
real connection can transcend those social barriers.
Totally.
We're all human, no matter what.
So, even though Dostoevsky explores the dark side,
Yeah,
there's this underlying hope
there is.
that real connection is possible.
In the most unexpected places.
Exactly.
I'm so glad we took this deep dive into Dostoevsky.
Me too. It's been amazing.
Challenging, but so rewarding.
And the best part is
Well.
his work sticks with you.
It does.
Makes you think and question and keep searching.
For those connections.
Yeah. In books and in life.
So to our listener out there,
Yeah.
remember Dostoevsky's words.
I will.
Keep your heart open to those unexpected moments.
Yeah. To beauty and connection.
Even in the darkest times.
Because there's always hope.
And that's it for our deep dive into Dostoevsky's White Nights and Other Stories. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.